1941, the Pacific Ocean, north of Hawaii. The sea is calm, deceptively peaceful, stretching to the horizon like polished steel. Radio channels are quiet. No alarms, no warnings. The Imperial Japanese Navy advances through the water in perfect formation, the most powerful carrier strike force ever assembled. 6 fleet carriers: Akagi, Kaga, Soryu, Hiryu, Shokaku, Zuikaku. More than 400 aircraft, thousands of sailors. Decades of doctrine, discipline, and imperial pride, concentrated into one decisive blow. Their destination is Pearl Harbor. Their mission is to cripple America in a single morning. On the bridges of the Japanese carriers, officers speak in low, confident voices. They believe history is already written. America is blind. America is soft. America will break. But today, the ocean has other plans. Without warning, the sky darkens. Not with clouds, not with rain, but with something unnatural. The wind dies. The surface of the sea begins to tremble. Compasses aboard Akagi spin wildly. Radio operators tear off their headphones. Unidentified interference across all channels. The water ahead begins to boil. Foam and steam rise as if the ocean itself is tearing open. A white, electrical fog spreads outward, swallowing the horizon. Sailors freeze in place, staring. Then something massive emerges. A steel wall, flat, angular, impossibly large. No smokestacks, no masts, no island superstructure like any carrier they have ever seen. Just a vast armored deck stretching hundreds of meters, bristling with antennas and sensors that hum with quiet power. USS Nimitz, a nuclear-powered aircraft carrier from the 21st century, has torn its way into 1941. On the bridge of Nimitz, silence reigns. Officers stare at instruments that make no sense. Navigation? Sir, no star patterns match. GPS is offline. Chronometer confirms. This is December 1941. The radar console lights up. Contacts bloom across the screen, clean and unmistakable. Multiple large surface groups. 6 carriers, Japanese configuration. The captain exhales slowly. He already knows what this means. If we're here, he says quietly, then Pearl Harbor hasn't happened yet. A pause. Long. Heavy. And it never will. On the Japanese side, confusion spreads. Lookouts scramble for binoculars. That ship, it's larger than Akagi. Where is its command tower? Is it even a carrier? Admiral Chuichi Nagamo steps onto the bridge wing, staring at the impossible silhouette. Launch reconnaissance, immediately! Zero fighters roar off the decks, engines screaming, propellers clawing at the air. They are elegant machines, light and deadly within their world. They race toward the unknown intruder. On Nimitz, the klaxon sounds. General quarters, air wing, scramble. Hawkeye first. Steam catapults thunder. An E-2 Hawkeye launches skyward, its rotating radar dome already painting the battle space hundreds of kilometers wide. Contact. Enemy aircraft approaching. Bearing confirmed. Super Hornets follow, leaping from the deck with raw jet thrust. The contrast is obscene. Propellers versus afterburners. Canvas and aluminum against composites and computers. Japanese pilots see them first. Enemy aircraft, no propellers. They're accelerating. Impossible speed. At 80 kilometers, the Japanese still cannot see their killers. American pilots already have full-firing solutions. Weapons free. Fox 3. An AMRAAM leaves the rail, screaming forward faster than sound. The first Zero explodes in a flash of fire and aluminum. Then another, then another. They're being destroyed without contact. In under 3 minutes, the reconnaissance force ceases to exist. On Akagi, Nagumo grips the railing so hard his knuckles whiten.
This enemy does not fight like a nation. It fights like the future.
The Hawkeye's operators speak calmly, almost clinically. Targets classified, 6 carriers, tight formation, minimal escort by modern standards. Strike package, you're cleared. Hornets lift off carrying harpoons, JDAMs, and precision weapons beyond anything 1941 can imagine. Japanese gunners spot nothing until it is too late. Harpoon missiles skim the waves, invisible, silent. The first strikes Kaga below the waterline. A dull thud, then a roar as fuel ignites. Fire races through compartments never designed to withstand such violence.
Flooding uncontrolled!
Soryu takes 2 hits. Aircraft detonate in the hangar deck, explosions feeding explosions. Akagi, flagship of the fleet, is struck amidships. Steel buckles. Flames erupt through the flight deck. Nagumo collapses to his knees.
We have awakened a demon!
But the battle is not over. Japanese doctrine demands counterattack. Every remaining aircraft is launched. Torpedo bombers skim the waves, crews knowing, feeling, that this may be their final flight.
For the Emperor!
On Nimitz, the combat systems officer watches the approach. Multiple inbound, subsonic, low altitude. CIWS active. Phalanx cannons roar to life. 6-barrel guns spit tungsten at hypersonic velocity. The sky turns white with tracers. Aircraft disintegrate mid-air, wings torn away, engines shredded. They're not penetrating the screen. One torpedo slips through. The helmsman reacts instantly. Hard to port. Nimitz turns, its massive hull responding with eerie grace. The torpedo passes harmlessly behind. The Japanese second wave never reaches weapon release range. Desperation sets in. Remaining pilots plead for orders. "Admiral, our aircraft cannot reach them." Nagumo stares at the burning fleet. His voice breaks.
Then we die with honor.
But even honor has limits. The Americans escalate. Authorize long-range strike. Authorized. JDAMs fall from altitude, guided by satellites that do not exist in this era. They strike with unerring precision. Hiryu erupts in flame. Zuikaku loses power and burns uncontrollably. The last carrier drifts, dead in the water. Silence spreads across the ocean, broken only by fire and the screams of steel tearing itself apart. On the bridge of Nimitz, no one celebrates. "Sir," an officer says quietly, "we've eliminated the entire Japanese carrier force." The captain watches sailors jump into the burning sea and altered the course of history forever. Helicopters launch. Rescue swimmers descend. "Recover survivors." A junior officer hesitates. "They were our enemies." The captain turns. "Not today. Today, they're witnesses." Japanese sailors are pulled from the water, staring in disbelief at machines beyond comprehension. Some weep, some pray, some simply stare. Later, the fog returns. Nimitz fades from 1941, leaving behind wreckage, survivors, and a broken timeline. Final analysis. The results are absolute. Japanese losses, 6 fleet carriers destroyed, over 400 aircraft lost, tens of thousands of sailors killed or captured. The most powerful naval strike force of its era erased in hours. American losses, 0 personnel, 0 aircraft, 0 damage. Why such disparity? First, information dominance. Radar and airborne early warning versus binoculars and guesswork. Second, engagement range. Missiles striking beyond visual distance versus guns that require the enemy to be seen. Third, speed. Jet aircraft operating at supersonic velocities against propeller-driven planes designed 2 decades earlier. Fourth, systems integration. A single carrier acting as a networked combat organism, not a collection of ships. This was not a battle. It was the collision of centuries. Pearl Harbor never happens. The Pacific War is rewritten before it begins. Japan loses its striking arm in a single morning. America never enters the war as a wounded giant, but as an unseen god. And somewhere beyond time, the anomaly closes, leaving history forever scarred by a future that briefly arrived too early.